Yeah.
There we go. We're here.
Some keyring. We are.
All of us.
Eventually.
Eventually. Some technical problems, but we're okay now.
Well, it wouldn't be a simulator interview without some kind of technical issues or crashes or, whatever else.
True.
If it's not the sim, something else.
Yeah.
It's in our blood.
7 degrees of separation to a P3D install. If you're anything within that, something you touch is going to crash.
Absolutely true.
Definitely. Oh, so how have you guys been? I mean, it's been a while since we've seen some familiar faces, and there's a couple of new faces as well, I see as well.
Things have been good, man. Busy as heck. I guess we'll start off on this side of the bubbles, or sorry, it's reversed this side. Kevin and I, some journeys in life. Last year, towards the tail end of the year, decided to kind of flip life upside down. Kevin relocated. Where to now? Quebec City? Quebec City, yeah.
Off from Toronto.
Just after that, he took a flight down to meet me in Oakland. How soon after was that?
After moving? Well, I moved in September. You moved in October.
October,
yeah, the first few days of October. So on the 28th, I flew to your spot.
Yeah, with the house full of boxes on his end.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of unpacked, but on the 28th I flew to Salt Lake City because you already left Oakland on your way to KC, Kansas City. So I landed in Salt Lake City after an entire day of traveling because there was some storm in Chicago, so I ended up being in Miami for some reason. And then landed
for some reason
in the evening.
Yeah.
For some reason. Yeah. Spent a couple of hours on the beach there before coming back in the middle of the U.S., in the middle of nowhere. So Salt Lake, and then we drove down to KC together. Helped you move in a little bit. And then it was off to Cosford right away.
Yeah, I mean, that's where a lot of the magic happened on that road trip, actually. Well, that sounds really dirty, but no. So he met me in Salt Lake City. I was driving a truck cross country, and that gave us a lot of brainstorming time. So we had announced the delay to the SkyPark publicly just before all that transition, right? Because we knew with all these moves, there was going to be a definite slowdown in development of the SkyPark. So we made that announcement and then kind of went on these life journeys. And on the way to Kansas City, a lot of what was now revealed in the press release was discussed and kind of evolved and finalized, really. So not only did things change in the sense of personal lives, but as well on the business front. Parallel 42 took on a whole new thing, an expansion of sorts.
So before we get kind of into the press release and talking about kind of that expansion, I'm sure you're really keen to talk about. I mean, there are 2 other bubbles on our kind of display around here somewhere.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Let's definitely give these guys an introduction and then let's hear from those 2 as well, because I'm sure
that's kind of the fruits of all this kind of lead to these guys. It's a perfect segue. To your right is Jeff Merver, and Jeff is a longtime friend of mine. We met working together at a shitty company back in the day, and we made the best of it. And incredibly talented developer. I'll let Jeff talk a little about what he's going to be handling for the SkyPark, because the SkyPark kind of took on a new life, becoming a standalone product and a server-side product. and he's doing all the infrastructure stuff for us.
Yeah. Just give you a quick background about myself. Been working in as an engineer for 8 years. Started at a company with Edson. Sadly, that friendship grew, and I've been able to really get rid of him since.
See, but funny enough, people always seem to say that when they talk about their friendship with Edson.
It's an
I feel the
interesting
same.
dynamic, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I met Kevin through Edson when we started working on the SkyPark, and been friends with Kevin ever since. I'm just meeting Raul for the first time, so it's good to meet you, Raul.
Nice to see
I'll
you.
be handling all the back-end infrastructure, the server side aspect of the SkyPark going forward. So that will be my role.
It's exciting.
Awesome.
Exciting. Yeah.
Then we have Mr. Raul Morales.
Hello. I met Kevin on 2017 in person for the first time in Cosford when we were presenting the alpha version at that stage of iLies Reborn Professional Edition, part of the suite that has been released this year, finally. And I always have been looked up at Kevin as someone that I really wanted to meet. He seemed to me the kind of person that somehow I wanted to work with him in the future. And it was very nice when I met him, and I have super good vibes about him. And I think I give him the same kind of impression. He was quite impressed by the kind of stuff I was pulling off with iLies Reborn, and we were joking about how you did this with this SDK and that kind of thing. And that kind of started growing on me because it was finally like meeting somebody that you could discuss technical stuff about the simulator that is very hard to find between developers. So it was very good to meet him at that time. I met Edson online first because he was trying my freeware, and as usual, when he do reviews, he just came back at me with an email, telling me how cheap it was, how much I have to improve it, and all that kind of stuff. I was a little bit of take back at that time. I was like, what the hell is this? This is a free product. And but in a way, it just gave me the strength to do something better. And I just add whatever he was doing, those kind of views that he had, I just add something into the professional version just to try to make things better, which is what you have to do when you get criticism about your product. You have to make it better. There's nothing else you can do about that. So that's how I met them first. And then I met them again on 2018 in Cosford again. And when I saw Kevin, I just gave him a hug because we just knew each other from online. We have exchanged already views of certain things. And for me, it was like seeing a friend that you haven't seen for a very long time, really. That's how it felt to me. I think he felt kind of the same way. They started playing with the FSElite professional that day there, and they loved it because the kind of things that he was able to do. And it's kind of what they're going to skip further down on the press release. Ideas started storming that day onwards of what to do next, and mostly because I've been receiving from my customers certain requests to do certain things with flyover airplanes, and I have been just holding off because I didn't want to enter in competition with OldProp at all. It's something that I did promise Kevin in 2017. I said to him, don't worry, I will never compete against you, if actually I would rather work with you. And he walked away that day. I think he didn't believe me, but I really meant it. And people
I was like, who's that guy? He doesn't
Yeah.
want to compete with me. Like, what's going on?
Well, it's just sometimes you have to kind of have some sort of work ethic, and entering the flight simulator market, and it doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel for certain things because it's just a waste of time for everybody. And instead, what you want to do is to try to improve the simulation experience for people, and you cannot do that if you kind of go in circles of trying to do what somebody else is already doing. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. That's how I see it. And and that's how the whole idea started. Well, okay, let me release my product first, and then see what else can be done. And that started this journey.
Yeah.
Kevin's pretty huggable. He's pretty huggable. Except it makes you feel awkward because I feel like I'm a tall guy, but then I'm like,
You're not.
I'm not.
No. I might say a bit. There might be people who don't know me watching this, obviously, because this is kind of out of context from necessarily what I'm doing directly and what people know me for. So Kevin Menard, I'm creator of Precipit FX, the Immersion packages, and most importantly, I think, Chase Plane. Been doing this for 6 years now, and yeah, I'm at all those good people surrounding me right now throughout the years, and leading to the announcement today with the press release. So I'll let Edson walk in that direction and explain a little bit how it happened. I might add a few things in there. Feel the need to.
Yeah, I feel like I should introduce myself too now. So, Edson
For sure.
Soriano, started off in flight simulation. Let's see, many years back, many years back, and I, thanks to this guy actually, Mr. Jeff here, he's the one that got me streaming. He's the one that literally said, dude, you should stream on Twitch. And I was like, why? Why would anyone want to see that? Like, I'm doing flight sim. He's like, no, you should do it. Like, try it once. And I did. And next thing I knew, I did it again, and people kept coming. And then came the Sky Lounge, right? Like, I had to make it a thing because it was growing. And so we created the skylounge.tv, and it's all thanks to that guy, man. I mean, Jeff made me stream the first time. And honestly, thanks to that move, I mean, all of this has happened. I've met every person you see here thanks to that day that he insisted I stream. That's pretty cool. So you might know me through the Sky Lounge, but today I function more, I guess, as managing director of Parallel 42. Handling biz dev, operations, that type of stuff.
It's been quite the journey for kind of all of you then, I guess, really, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
An
the way we
exciting
all
one.
came together is pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's about to get a whole lot bigger.
It's about to get a whole lot bigger. Yeah. So that's the history, but yeah, some things are changing, as you see.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess maybe before we go into kind of this bigger picture stuff, I mean, we can kind of talk a little bit about kind of the history you had earlier last year as Parallel 42. And from what I can remember, you guys teased just a very short trailer with a box in the middle of a random kind of area. And I think you kind of taunted and teased the community for a little while. I mean, you certainly taunted me for a while because you told me nothing. And usually you give me those exclusives. But on this occasion, you just didn't. So,
That's true.
And then came Orlando and Flight Sim Expo. And you were up on stage with Kevin. The pair of you were up there talking about the SkyPark. So what was that like? What was that kind of sensation like for you to kindly unveil the curtain of this kind of new project that you've been working in secret on for quite a while?
It's crazy. I never thought that I would have that feeling again, but here I am having that feeling again, right? Like, just like we kept that whole concept of the SkyPark being built under wraps completely, we had to do the same with all of this. Right? Moving over all these things into Parallel 42 is a huge move. The release of the SkyPark is a huge thing for the community too, because, look, correct me if I'm wrong, but something like that has never been built. We have comparisons to other apps, and we can say that we might share some of those similar actions like, you know, having a purpose to fly. I think that there are products on the market that give you a purpose to fly, but I don't think they do it like the SkyPark does. Holding all that under wraps was tight, man. It was really tough. Standing on stage, I didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to do it. Kevin kept saying it had to be me. I kept saying it had to be Kevin. He had the stage presence. He had great presentations before me. And we settled on playing a song at the beginning that would get me into the mode. Because, like, you know, I'm very musical, right? Like, the Sky Lounge as a production is all music and flying, and I'm all about the music. And we sat there for about an hour and chose the right song. It had to start off mellow, and it had to pick up to a perfect drop where I would come on stage. And we settled on Stranded by Flight Facilities, and it was fantastic. Like, it set the mood. I got up on stage, and I delivered the SkyPark to public view for the first time ever. And I think the feedback was great. We were on the right track for something. And then you got the exclusive immediately after because you swept me away to your booth for an interview.
Yes, I did. I remember that. You were fresh off the stage and everyone was kind of crowding around ready to ask you questions. And I'm like, no, back off. He's mine for 10 minutes.
Fresh off the stage.
He promised he'd be yours, though. I remember you approaching him. You're like, after you're done, you come with me straight after, right? You're like, I swear, I promise.
That sounds creepier than actually what really happened.
Yeah, that kicked off the name Parallel 42 into public light. I mean, that was the start.
And I guess for you guys, that was kind of really exciting, is kind of announcing this new product, brand new company name, lots of stuff going on, and then it all kind of went a bit quiet from you guys until maybe about a few weeks ago. You kind of said, hey, look guys, really sorry, stuff has happened, which we'll get to in just a second, which then meant a subsequent delay to the SkyPark. So I think it's really important that we obviously tell people what's happened and where you are today. So for those who haven't read the press release, I don't want to read it out because that's kind of boring, although it is a very fabulous press release. So maybe you can kind of, starting from the very top, kind of work our way through kind of all the exciting announcements that you guys are putting out today. So maybe Kevin, you can kind of lead us kind of to the introduction of kind of where Chase Plane and Precipit FX is going in terms of the Immersion products.
Yeah, are we starting right at the integration of the
Yes.
product? I don't have it open. I should have had it open in front of me. But yeah, paper is good. So during that journey between Salt Lake City and Kansas City, while we were moving Edson, we had a lot of time to chat, right, about what the future would look like for the SkyPark for me, because at that point I'm between two trees. I'm between Parallel 42 and I'm between and OldProp. So it was clear that a decision had to be taken and the direction had to be taken and kept. It just made sense at that point. Edson has always been a bigger part of Chase Plane and the immersion packs and the visuals, and it just made sense to either bring him into OldProp or we just make that one company and bring all the products from OldProp to Parallel 42. And we chose to do that. So the products that are sold under OldProp right now are going to be migrating from OldProp to Parallel 42. They are going to be sold under the Parallel 42 umbrella in the Orbx store exclusively. So we're going to remove them from sale on the OldProp website and exclusively sell them on Orbx. It's beautiful that Orbx right now is jumping into third parties. We've seen Milviz release their airplane on there. There are going to be much more third-party developers to follow, but we're insanely happy to be the second or third ones, depending on when it actually hits, to release products on there. It's a beautiful market. The Orbx team is absolutely phenomenal. We've been working for them during the past few months, and it's only been real good. So right now, the moment you're watching this, the products are already on there, released and available. So
I guess we should just clarify. Those include the 717 Immersion Pack, 737, 747, 777, 787, the Lear 35 Immersion set, and the Q400 Immersion, along with Chase Plane and Precipit FX. Is that right?
And the 320 Immersion for the 2014 version of the Aerosoft Airbus. So the entire catalog has been moved over to the Orbx store. We're not leaving anybody behind. One of the reasons why I decided to move everything over and kind of buy my shares back from OldProp, the partnership in there was not the partnership that I desired. It's not what I looking 5 years ahead, I was not with the partner I wanted to be. And that move, just Edson was very excited about the prospect of helping me manage those products. So decided to bite the bullet, take all the products and bring them with me. The alternative was letting it all die. And that was not an avenue that I was willing to accept. So big moves are being made, but it's absolutely worth it in my mind.
And I guess this helps propel Parallel 42 from kind of that single product kind of announcement to actually now having a kind of a product range of around 10 or so already from like the get-go.
Yeah, and it enables us to keep living while we develop the SkyPark, and then we can spend the right amount of time without too much stress on developing it the right way and the proper way and delivering it when it's ready. I feel like if that move didn't happen, we would be under obviously a monetary stress that would not yield the best results. So this move is in the direction of making things right and making sure that the SkyPark also is developed fully before we make it available.
So this is still a community-driven move as well, obviously, because that gives you that flexibility, doesn't it, to continue making the SkyPark to the best it can be.
Very much so. And also the OldProp products, right? Like, we're going to breathe new life into them. And it's incredible. Like Kevin says, I like to feel I played a bit of a silent partner role in developing those products with him. He was always super good to me, and thanking me any way he can for the little bits of feedback and yelling that I did in his ear about features and this and that, and the cinematic mode. I mean, that's like directly inspired from the SkyPark and the Sky Lounge and the productions and the movements and the way my hands move about the keyboard like this to make camera moves. And it was like, what if I could just make that happen? What if you just press a button? I think it started when I said, Kevin, when I leave to go get lunch and I leave the plane flying, what if a screensaver could start? And I think that's where like cinematic was like, okay, we can do this. And it's like contributing that way. We've always worked together. Like we've always worked together on things. Since we met, we've worked together on things. So it's really cool to see that now in an official sense, to be a partnership that's going to propel things that we're passionate about into the future, working together. Like, it's really exciting.
So before we talk a little bit more about the future, I just want to get some of the semantics out the way for those people. So you mentioned all the OldProp products are now moving over to Parallel 42, which are going to be sold through Orbx Direct. So does that mean, obviously they can use Orbx Central for that ease of download and installation and updates and all that stuff? What about people's licenses? Is there going to be like a transfer across,
Yes.
or is this?
So
Yep.
there is and all registered users by this point should have already received their emails. And if you haven't, please by all means do reach out. If you're a registered user, you can log into the OldProp website. We're leaving that domain active for some time. Log into the OldProp website, log into your account, go up to the account tab, and you'll see your products listed, and you click to view serial, each one. You take that serial number and you enter it over on the Orbx side. Directions are in the email. You enter it on the Orbx side, syncs up, you're set.
Easy.
Easy peasy. Yeah, a lot of hard work has gone into this integration. A lot of hard work. And that's kind of the stuff that has created the delay for the SkyPark, right? Like, to move 10 products to the front line, we had to push the one back to the end of the line. But once we get these moving, it's kind of, they're self-propelled, right? So once we get these active in the store, we get to switch out, focus back on the SkyPark. And I think some future discussion here is going to lead into exactly how we're going to get the resource to focus on SkyPark while other things move forward.
So I want to stick on the Immersion products for just a moment.
Yeah.
So Raul's obviously here. He's been very quiet for the last 15 minutes or so. So if you haven't read the press release, or even if you have, you may have just missed kind of a very important announcement that kind of was tucked away in there. So a brand new aircraft was released from a very popular aircraft developer for very popular aircraft. And I'm sure, Kevin, you've had plenty of questions already. When is the immersion pack coming for the NGXu? So maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about that and introduce kind of Raul's involvement with what's going on there.
I think I've received more requests for the NGXu than for VC Rain Effect during the entirety of my career in flight sim. It's very interesting actually, because right after we talked, me and Edson, about bringing stuff over to...
Tell the full story as we walked away from his booth.
No, wait, it's even before, we talked about bringing the products over, right? In the truck, going to Kansas City.
Yeah.
3 days later, we were in Costa, right? And who do I run into? Raul, right there. He has a booth showcasing his beautiful product that he released a couple weeks or months before the event. And we chatted for a bit. And it was nice catching up on stuff, talking a little bit about the P3D SDK and where it lacked. And, talking about the new sim, the potential there. And it became clear that I had a hint before because we chatted in previous events. It was clear to me that he had an interest into building immersion type products, and he was very, very interested into working with us in any way there could be. And it was a good timing because all that transition. The SkyPark happening in the background, chase plane going on, the new sim, we need new ideas, we need to build new stuff. It just started to really make sense. So when we came back, Edson and I kind of thought about how could Raul play a role in this transition and for the future of Parallel 42. So Raul is going to be the one building the 737 NGXu immersion product, and he's been grinding already for a couple of weeks, and I've seen him go. And it's hard to delegate it's really, really hard to delegate work, especially when you're passionate about it and when it's your baby, you've been, working on it for so long. It's hard to find someone just as talented and passionate about something. And Raul is absolutely up to the task, and I can't think of anybody else in the community that I know that could fit this position better. And he's a very huggable person too. So.
Which is very important to do immersion packages.
It's very important to doing business.
yeah, I'm very impressed by what he's shown me so far. We've transferred a lot of knowledge with the tools, with the base platform of the immersion packs, and we already have improved it by the time this is viewed. By the time you view it, we already have those products released, and the immersion packs, the immersion manager has already been improved from where it was, thanks to a lot of other people's feedback too. Only bright future ahead for the immersion packs. It's incredible. I cannot have asked for better in this situation. For real.
It takes a very unique kind of person to embrace lighting and effects in a simulator. It really does, right? Like it's such a fine detail that it's not for everyone.
There's a soul
right?
to it.
There's a soul to it. And seeing these guys work is amazing because they're talking the same language, right? And this is in essence, a product that Kevin created in this community that didn't exist prior to Kevin. I mean, this niche of effects in this sense didn't exist prior to the immersion packages. So to see this knowledge being not transferred, because Raul on his end had already been picking up this knowledge. I mean, to see it come together with the two brightest, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's a good spread of talent, right? Because managing OldProp by myself with a partner, that partner did a lot of admin stuff in the background and some back-end programming, but really the marketing, the product design, the support, the community, all of that was on my shoulder. And it's great to find people that can pick up on those tasks and help me move it further than where it was when I was doing it on my own. Edson is good at talking. He's good at biz dev. He's good at talking to other people. I hate doing that. I hate dealing with other companies and building contracts and stuff. I hate it. Edson hates it, but he's good at it. So, and it's funny enough because he left the previous work he was doing because he hated doing that. But then he somewhat came right back into it. And Raul is good at kicking asses at Microsoft and Lockheed and knocking doors down and requesting stuff and actually having it done, which is another thing that I'm really not good at. So it's like the strength that we have.
And to fill in the Jeff part, it's like the one feature that we showed on the SkyPark that had everyone going crazy was the remote screenshots and stuff, right? Into the Skyblogs. I mean, you literally could stand on your phone and press a button and it takes a screenshot of your sim and logs it in your Skyblogs. That whole infrastructure was built by this guy's brain, and it's like all it took was a moment of thinking outside the box. And in less than a weekend, it was just like, here, try this. And we tried it, and we're just like, is this even real right now?
It's the beautiful thing about having a team that's just as compatible, right? When we were working, me and Jeff on the project for an evening, and he was just, we were talking, I was like, wouldn't it be nice to take screenshots in line in the Skyblogs? And he's like, yeah, let's just do it. And then he actually did it. And then we had it going. And it's the beautiful thing about having a team that just is blend in so much together.
Synergy, man.
Yes, it is about being able to express your idea and then the other person is understanding what your idea is, because that is the most important thing of this team. When Kevin says something, we all know, okay, this is what he's thinking about. He says one word and we can see the 3 sentences following through, and then suddenly the whole team understand, okay, so we can build that. Or when I have some sort of a moment in the middle of the night, I have to wake up in the morning and I start typing to them, guys, I have this idea. They're all bloody sleeping and they cannot even answer me. And I can't wait for them to just wake up, because I know that they're gonna read it and straight away see what I'm talking about. By the time it's the evening, we're on the same page. So it is quite amazing working with them. I love working with all of them, because it's that kind of thing where you express one idea and you don't get you down. Actually, the idea develops into something, rather than saying, no, we're not going to do that. What happens with any idea we throw into the mix, it says, oh, but we can do it like this, it becomes even better, which is great.
Yeah.
I feel like Sochi had one out here.
Yeah, Callum is an outsider. He's not part of the team officially, but we nag him still.
He just feeds us cookies at the expos.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just keep feeding us.
Yeah. I need to stop feeding myself after Christmas and stuff, I think.
But yeah, man.
No, it's really cool to. I mean, these type of things as well. Kind of just sitting on kind of this Skype type of thing, and just chatting to you guys and hearing about kind of how things went from like a very small kind of casual idea in a truck, moving from state to state, to kind of actually forming a kind of an alliance and an exciting proposition to the community with all these products coming out. So yeah, like you said, Edson, you announced this product back in June, and then obviously all these things have happened and it's brought about some kind of delays. So I imagine now is the time to kind of really talk a little bit more about kind of the future for the SkyPark, and just kind of giving some background on kind of why it went from that estimated summer release to where we are today.
Sure. I mean,
Not to throw you under the bus there with that release date, but
this is why. This is why. We just couldn't talk about
Edson, I told Edson, I was like, dude, we should not put a release date on this. And he's like, yeah, it'll be ready for summer. Summer is kind of, we have some time.
The problem was our
Dude.
minds kept thinking, right? The problem was the minds kept thinking. So yeah, most definitely, what we're looking at roadmap wise is, today we've got all of these products finally out in the wild via the Orbx store. Amazing partnership with Orbx. It's the very best experience for the community. I mean, it's one click, it's simple. We're able to deliver updates incredibly fast and efficiently. All these products are out in the wild. Kevin's focus is shifting off of NGXu as Raul's focus increases on that, flying solo. Kevin switches back into SkyPark mode fully. We flesh it all out. We just released a new build a couple days ago to our internal testing team. That's going really great. We brought in a designer as well. Didn't make sense to have the designer here, but she contributes an incredible amount to the look of the SkyPad and the SkyPark as a whole. So every little element is getting redone and retouched by an amazing designer, Jess. And so we're doing all the detail work now. I thought I was a good
designer. I thought I was a good designer, but boy, am I nothing compared to what she's done. Like, I'll do the
She's
UI,
amazing.
no problem. But like, as soon as she dropped the first icon, I'm not touching icons anymore. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
it's
doing all of them.
It's been incredible. And it really just added a fresh flavor to everything, right? So we've renamed stuff like the bank, and we've renamed stuff like the jobs center is now contracts. So a lot of fine details to get things just right. We flip onto the SkyPark, the standalone release. It's a standalone product, one-time purchase, boom, no subscription. Jeff already is grinding on the server infrastructure, right? So sometime after the initial release of the standalone product, we flip live the server infrastructure for people to go subscription if they wish, to gain a lot of real-time content, real-time stuff. Not going to get into detail on that right now, but all the cool stuff like, you know, SkyPad Anywhere, using SkyPad on your cell phones while you're in the bathroom, while you're in bed, whatever, all that's server reliant. He's building that. Raul focuses on the future of Immersion. Everybody's busy. Everybody's grinding. It's going to be a busy 2020. And on that note, there are other things happening in 2020, right? So that's throwing a wrench into a lot of things for developers, because we're needing to kind of calculate that knowledge as well into our schedules as it becomes available to us. Right? We're as blind as anyone else is today. Even though we've got some information and we've got some things in play, until we get, you know, the full gamut of what's available to us as developers, we can't really, you know, say what we have ahead for 2020. But it's definitely in the works. I mean, it's definitely something that we have in mind and on the radar for us.
Is it related to this?
Yes, it is indeed. It is indeed. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
and that's exciting too, right? Because the future is so bright for flight simulation. It
Yeah.
genuinely is so stupidly bright right now. But you know, sitting in the developer chair, you kind of can't necessarily put a date on things right now, when at any moment they could drop a bomb that makes you stop the press,
Yep.
right?
But we could have a whole discussion on all that
We
stuff.
could, and we're not.
And now we're leading up to a really intense year. And like for you guys, it must be exciting because it's kind of daunting as well, I guess, because like you said, you just don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, when it does happen, there's just so much possibility out there for, you know, all the different products, not just the SkyPark, but your immersion packages, chase plane, and everything else that you've got on the table as well.
Yeah, and we're committed to maintain, you know, and exceed the quality level on everything, right? We know that Chase Plane, aka Kevin, provides phenomenal support, right? That's not changing. It's, if anything, it's growing. The ability for us to support this product line is growing significantly. So expect at least the same, if not way better than you've ever been used to.
Awesome.
Amen.
So I think that about kind of wraps it up from the press release.
Yes.
Is there anything else you would like to add or inform the community about what's been going on?
Thank you for your time. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you for finding our news exciting.
Always.
Heck yeah.
We hope the community agrees. It's absolutely exciting for us.
Personally, I've enjoyed doing this because I think it is such a significant change, and there's a lot of information in the press release that it's kind of interesting and great for the community to kind of put some faces actually together with what's going on and kind of hear a bit more of the backstory rather than just kind of reading some black and white words. So yeah, I appreciate all of your time as well for kind of sitting down and just chatting with me for a bit.
Thanks, Callum.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yep.